Alright folks, tonight we're back to basics. It's just me. So technically I guess you could say you're watching a solo male video, and that would be true. It's a little joke that some of you will get. Others will just think it's lame. But enough of that. Let's get to the beer, which is why anybody's actually watching. This is Stone's Chai Spiced Russian Imperial Stout. Stone gets a lot of attention for their IPAs, and rightfully so. They make a lot of really great stuff. Ruination is one of the highest IBU beers out there, and they topped that off with Ruin 10, which was originally their 10th anniversary brew, but now is being brewed regularly. They don't get enough attention for their other beers, though. Arrogant Bastard Ale is an awesome brew, as well as any iteration of that. The Double Bastard is just great. So is Lucky Bastard. The Oaked Arrogant Bastard is really good. So I keep going on about their other beers, but it's just to demonstrate that they are a really solid brewery with a lot of really good stuff and really great products behind them. So Chai Spiced Imperial Russian Stout. It's a little bit of a different take on their regular Imperial Russian Stout. Now, the only other beer I've had before that was chai spiced was also a stout. It was a chocolate stout from Clown Shoes. It provides a really nice, sweet, very cool sweetness in the finish. So I'm looking forward to the same thing here, although at 11% alcohol by volume and being an Imperial Stout, this is really going to hit you more up front, I think. But enough talking about it. Let's see how it is. That pours very thick. Obviously a stout. I mean, that is black as midnight. You can't even see through that. You can't even see an inch into that. The head itself is extremely dark. Even with a lot of stouts, you still see a lot of light color in the head. The head is just very brown and very thick. I didn't pour out a very tall head on it, but what's there is really long-lasting and very thick. Lots of coffee, very, very strong mocha coffee, chocolatey aroma. I mean, it's almost like smelling a cup of coffee. That'll wake you up in the morning, and at 11 ABV, it'll put you to bed at night. The aroma is just incredible. I mean, that alone is worth the experience. It smells awesome. I mean, I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I love the smell and taste of coffee ice cream. And I'm just sitting here obsessively sniffing this because it just smells great. Up front, it's a lot lighter than I expected in terms of mouthfeel, but it gets thicker as it goes down. A lot of that heavy coffee aroma is coming through in the taste. There's notes of chocolate, maybe a little bit of caramel. As I go on, I'm getting that sourness and that alcohol taste that I expect from the Imperials or anything in the double digits with the ABV. Not really picking up any bitterness I can attribute to the hops. I think it's mostly from the malt blend. Not getting any esters or other notes from hoppiness on there either. This is all malt in terms terms of the flavor. And there's a hint of that cool sweetness that I mentioned from the chai spice. It's not very obvious in this, though. It's very, very subtle. And it's there, but you really have to, you probably wouldn't notice if you didn't know it was there. Clown Shoe's brew is the Bombay Berserker, was the one with the chai spice in it. And with that, in the finish, there was a very cool sweetness that came through, and it was very obvious. Well, like I said, with this brew, it's very, very subtle. You can taste that sweetness and that coolness. It's actually coming through more now that I'm letting it rest on the palate and not sipping it. I'm getting it more in the aftertaste. But again, it's still very subtle. It's an excellent beer overall, and I would definitely recommend checking it out. I'm going to rate this at a 4.5 out of 5. Just because the chai spice isn't really as obvious as I thought it would be. If it was more obvious, that would probably put it into the 5 out of 5 category, but it's a 4.5 out of 5 solidly. Definitely check it out if you're a fan of any sort of dark beer or stouts, if you're a fan of Stone's brews. And if you're a fan of these videos, give me a like and a share down below. You got a beer that you either brewed yourself at home as a home brew, hit me up in the comments or through the email link. We'll talk about getting it on here, and I'll do a review. If you got any suggestions for a beer review, hit me up with those in the same manner, and I'll see what I can do. Until next time, definitely check this beer out. Cheers.